All right, what's going on, everyone? Chris of Chef Sports Cards here. We are doing 2024 Topps Pro Debut Half Jumbo Case Break number 12. Apologize for the slight delay. We had some technical difficulties earlier this evening. It's kind of put us behind all night. Yeah, we got to get Smurf Chef, man. He's like the old mascot. We got to get him standing up. There you go. All righty. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Especially if you're new to the channel, welcome. Bit about us. We've been around for over 7 years now. We break mostly baseball. We ship all cards from every break. We're very generous with the top loading, and we ship as quickly as our little hands will move. If you are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. eBay continues to run their sweepstakes. No purchase necessary there. Go to any of our eBay listings. There's a link in the description. Follow that, and you can win some free cards. Who knows? Worth a shot. It's free. Why not, right? And of course, as always, I beg of you, check out chefsportscards.com. We got a bunch of breaks up over there. We got Bowman Chrome, we got Pro Debut, we got some of the Leaf Trinity Mega boxes up over there. Mostly for pretty much always the prices are cheaper there than they are here on eBay. So anybody who's in the Pick Your Team Bowman Chrome 190, which is the four hobby box break, we're doing that tomorrow night at 11 after the eBay breaks. So just FYI. And if we fill anything else between now and then, we'll do that too. So, all right, let's go over the teams. D-backs, Matthew O. Braves, Mark L. Orioles, Doug P. Red Sox, Thomas K. Cubs, William R. White Sox, Joseph L. Reds, Robert V. Guardians, Kurt D. Rockies, Joseph L. Tigers, Scott H. Royals, Scott H. Astros, Joseph L. Angels, Brandon W. Dodgers, Justin S. Brewers and Twins, Robert V. Marlins, Kurt D. Mets, Greg B. Yankees, Scott H. A's, Stephen K. Phillies, Robert V. And Pirates, Robert V. Excuse me. Cardinals, Hewitt A. Padres, Robert H. Giants, Tim C. Mariners, Doug P. Rays, Stephen K. Rangers, Billy Y. Blue Jays, Tim C. And Nationals, Doug P. All right. Let's do it. Good luck, everybody. Pro Debut Jumbo. Jumbo. Doing hobbies all weekend, so this will be a change of pace. Too low. There we go. First up, Brandon Winokur for the Twins. For Robert. Jackson Churio, Heroes of the Diamond. And behind that, 134 of 199, Cole Young for the Mariners. For Doug. Chromes of McDaniel, Paulette, Morris, Lesko, Sim, and Minacci. Let's do this. All right. Chromes of Sagasti, Borafin, Dunno, Jorge Bush, and Brando Maya on the X-Fractor. One per box. Sebastian Walcott, Road to the Show, and Maya, Florida. I swear to God, sometimes there's, I don't know if it's the oxy powder they put on the cards, but sometimes my hands like get super itchy, like they're having a reaction of some kind. It might be the oxy powder, I guess. It's weird. It doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while when I'm opening cards, all of a sudden my hands like get red and itchy. 2 of 5, Robbie Snelling for San Diego. Look at that thing. 2 of 5 red. We love red. My man Robert. There you go, buddy. I like that one. Red chrome Robbie Snelling for the Padres. I don't know if he's here, but he'll like it when he sees it. Thing's awesome. And behind that to 150, Drew Thorpe for the White Sox. For Joseph. Our other chromes, Ledbetter, Thomas, Forrester, and Crawford. Jones. Carlos De La Cruz for the Fightin' Phils. Robert. Number 216 of 299. Jason Worth throwback. And 108 of 175. Cole Carrig for the Rockies. For Joseph. Rodden, Keener, Bauman, Perales, Cooler, and De Los Santos. Come on. For Kansas City, Caden Wallace to 150. For Scott. $63 of $150. What do you mean, Billy? First time jumping? You mean in the chat? Oh, yeah, man. Nice to hear from you. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Rincones, Alderman, Bloss, Bennett. You are obviously a Rangers fan, my friend. I've only seen you buy Rangers. Let's see where we can find you this evening. And there he is again. Jeez, I swear. Timur Johnson, Fabrics of the Future. Numbered 62 of 99. Very nice. We've gotten 4 of these, 4 Fabrics of the Future. We've had a 1 of 1 Jacob Wilson and 3 Timur Johnsons. Like, I don't know if they're the only guys that actually signed. It's very cool, though. On card, size top loader for. They're not easy to hit. They're kind of like one per case type of things, but it's just so weird. We keep getting Teamer Johnson. But you could do worse, that's for sure. Dylan Cruz and Amirian Boyd for the Phils. It's pretty sick. What, your love of the Rangers is pretty sick? Hey, man, you're still the defending World Series champions. You're allowed to be as sick as you want to be, my friend. And as a Phillies fan, it really irks the hell out of me. 101 of 199. All right. It's just weird that I don't know who else has signed those. I have to look it up on the checklist. Kevin Parada, refractor to 99, 67 of 99. Oh, you're going to bring the Jacob Wilson with you? It's a cool card, man. Oh, look, another Mets hit. Shocker. We've had a lot of Mets in the last few weeks. Burns, Bolt, Sullivan, Gordon, and Valdez. Felix Hernandez and Maui Ahuna. Yeah, if I have the time tonight, try to get some stuff together to drop off for grading tomorrow at the show. I don't know. We'll see. That's the only problem. I try to get stuff done, and then it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I don't wake up early enough, and then I just go, forget it. I got other stuff to do. Let's do these first. Jones, Emerson, Sanchez, Shim, Troy, and Green. Yeah, nice Sunday game. Awesome. Spencer Jones, Heroes, and Cabrera, Florida. All right, for the 20s, Gabriel Gonzalez, 106 of 150. Sanchez, Laverdad, Lara, Gomez, and Churio. Welbin Francesa for the Guardians. Oh, she wants some recipes? Oh, yeah. That's understandable. Jackson Holiday to 199. Yeah, I actually, I'd like to get back for some football too, but I actually have to go to the cafe tomorrow. I have a breakfast at like 5 in the morning on Monday. And need to set one of my guys up for. So my time at the show is going to be limited by that because I do have to go and get that stuff prepped. 189 of 199. Plus I got to get back for the breaks tomorrow night and all that stuff. So. For Kansas City, Caden Wallace refractor, 52 of 99. Campbell, Anderson, Williams, McGarry, and Miller. What does your wife like to cook? She have a specific talent? Is she a baker? Is she like Kevin Parada for the Rumble Ponies, aka the Mets, to 150? That's the funny thing. The more I do this, the less I even want to think about food anymore. I much prefer to do this. There was a time when it was the other way around, but not so much anymore. Schultz, Bernal, De Los Santos, Keegan, Maya, and Cruz. Which, if it keeps up the way it should, that means there should be a Cruz or Skeens in the next one. Although we need a Skeens hit. It's crazy. We've only had like one parallel. Oh, who's Robert's got him tonight? Let's give Robert one. Come on, Paul Skeens. Show your face, buddy. Fireflies, Austin Charles, Kansas City. Southern cooking and wine. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Some people like to bake, man. There's nothing wrong with bacon. Ryan Clifford for guess who? The Mets. Yeah, John. If I see one, I'll let you know, buddy. I do have really just like two things I'm trying to accomplish there tomorrow. I am trying to get some cards sent for grading, and I'm trying to find that find an Otani auto. I can't decide what I want to get, but see if I can find a good deal on an Otani auto. It's Sunday. There's the Paul Skeens. I told you it was in the next pack. And Bernal on the X Fractor. Mama does the bacon. Understandable. Understandable. Sometimes you can't mess with mama's bacon, that's for sure. See, I did not, I don't, I think I've told this story before. The way I became a chef, or the way I started to cook, I always wanted to cook. I always had an interest for it when I was a kid, you know? And the plague of my life was the fact that my mother was a nurse. Figueroa on the Ray Wave or Lava or whatever they're calling these orange. 17 of 25 for Texas. For Billy. So my mother was an emergency room nurse. And pretty much anything I wanted to do as a child, she saw someone lose a head or a hand or a foot or a leg doing it. So, you know, anytime I brought it up, it was no, you'll lose, you know, you'll cut your hand off. You'll do this. Like, that was my entire childhood. Now, I've told you guys this before. In hindsight, one thing I do credit my mother with, she would not let me play football when I was a kid. I played all kinds of sports. I love sports, but I was not allowed to play football. She would never sign the permission or anything like that. And I'm a big guy. I was a big kid, you know, like coaches used to come after me all the time, and I'd always have to be like, my mom won't let me, you know. And I was so mad when I was a kid. Mike Bovey for the Brew Crew, 83 of 299. But now after all this CTE stuff, that's what she used to say, like back in the 70s and 80s. She's like, you cannot hit your head like that many times without having problems. And she was right. I mean, she was a nurse. She knew what she was talking about. And she's like, you just can't do it. It's impossible. All these people are going to have problems one day, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, fast forward 30 years later, she was absolutely right. So I got to give her credit on that one. And Moises Ballestaros for the Cubbies, 63 of 99. So, anyway, I'd like to cook. I found it interesting, this, that, whatever. And my mother was a terrible cook. I mean, Now, in defense of her, she cooked. Like, it's not like she couldn't cook and said, well, I'm just going to get takeout or whatever. She tried. She did. She was horrendous. I mean, I can actually remember really bad meals as a child, like stand out like it was yesterday. So I wanted to cook when I was a kid, and I used to bring it up all the time, and my mother wouldn't let me. No, you can't go near the stove, blah, 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 blah. So my father owned his own company, and for years my mom was just home with us with the kids, but she decided to go back to work as a nurse. And she was working in, I think she was working at a nursing home at the time, if I remember right. And she was working part time, but it was like the 3 to 11 shift. And I kept on her, and I want to cook, and I want to cook, and I want to cook. And she said, fine, you want to cook, make dinner. I was 11 years old. And I said, well, what do we have? And she showed me a few things. Oh, we got chicken, we got this, we got that. She's like, whatever. So I made chicken parmesan, and she went to work. And my dad came home from work and sat down and had dinner and called her where she was working and told her from that day on if I was cooking, he would come home. And if she was cooking, he would not. Needless to say, my parents were divorced a few years later. I mean, it was already on its way to that. But, and, you know, in hindsight, one of the reasons why I wanted to cook so bad is I'm a big dude. And the food was horrible when I was a kid. I needed good nourishment, you know? Langford, Davis, Quero, Tidwell, Head, and Clifford. And it's funny because the food was so bad. I remember when my sister and I were little, and I'm talking like 4 or 5 years old, my father would come to us and tell us not to eat that much. And then after dinner was over, he'd be like, oh, I'm going to go put gas in the car. I'll take the kids. And he'd take us to like Denny's or Friendly's or like Burger King or anywhere other than have him eat the food that his wife made. So, needless to say, that's what pushed me towards cooking. I got my first job in a kitchen when I was 12, and I worked in kitchens the rest of my life. Culinary school, you know, the whole 9 yards. Back when nobody went to culinary school. Blade Tidwell for the Mets. For Greg. But yeah, I mean, basically, I became a chef out of a need for food, edible food. Lombard, Road to the Show, and Max Anderson for the Tigers. For Scott. And of course, I worked in kitchens in high school, and like I said, I got my first job in the kitchen when I was 12, washing dishes, and by the time I was 13, I was working on a line. And 89 of 199, and in like the late 80s, I didn't even think about like culinary school. A teacher told me about it actually, and they're like, "You really like to cook?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, you could go to culinary school. I'm like, where? Like, culinary schools, there were only a few of them around back then, and it was really odd that anybody went. And I thought like, oh yeah, all right, great. I'll cook a little and smoke weed by the dumpster for the rest of my life. Little did I know, Carson Roquefort, 16 of 75. I mean, that's what I did most of my high school career in kitchens. Go in, prep, get stoned, cook, eat. you know, like I thought, wow, I can make a career out of this. It'll be wonderful. And then fast forward to 6, 7 years later, I was in charge of like a $25 million restaurant. It didn't quite go that way anymore. Eldridge, Redfield, McLean, Wilson, and Shaw. I would have loved that when I was a kid. It would have. That sounds fantastic. It really does. My mother used to make liver and onions. Oh my god, I can still like horrid, just horrid. Who in the right mind? And even though nobody in the house wanted it, like I hated it, my father hated it, my sister hated it. She would, oh, it was so bad. Liver and onions. Ugh. Yeah. I'm a fan of like black beans and all that. My wife and son aren't. They're the same way. They don't like them at all. So when I make them, it's like, well, you're gonna eat them, not me. Yeah. Arjan Namala for Toronto for Tim. There's always a thing to cooking though. Like 14 of 175, Jonah Cox. I've always tried to explain to people like you either have a talent for it or you don't. Like, don't get me wrong, you can study and you can learn and you can this and you can that, but I've known tons of people who really like to cook and have studied a ton, have traveled, have done this, have done that, but they don't have like the natural talent to do it. And it's not that their food's not isn't bad. It's just never quite as good as somebody who's got that kind of natural talent. Like I wasn't born with talent in a lot, but one thing I could do was cook from like day one. I don't know why, you know. Paul Skeens X Factor for the Pirates, nice one there. Um, I mean, I had some people in my family who were good, but nobody was a chef or anything like that. And I mean, I worked at some of the biggest restaurants in the country back in the day. It just always made sense, you know. Whereas I've known other people who like doing it, but you know, they just don't quite have that. I don't know what to call it. I guess just talent for it. Road to the show in Arias, Florida. Steak and beans. Yeah, that sounds all right to me, man. I'd be down with that. That's the funniest part is I get all these people who are like, "Oh, I'd invite you over for dinner, but I'm so worried about having you come." I'm like, "Dude, you can literally make me hot dogs, and I am cool." Grayson hit 66 of 99. I am not, as long as I'm not cooking it. That's the key. It's not the food itself. I am not the most unpicky eater there is. I will eat pretty much anything. I mean, I don't want liver and onions, I can tell you that. But I mean, there's not much I would turn my nose up at. I am a simple, when it comes to eating myself, like, I am so simple. The key is I didn't have to make it. That's the key to inviting me over. So, all right. What do we got going in here? Let's see. Noah Schultz, 9 of 25 for the White Sox. For Joseph. Yeah, I'm not a big filet guy. I worked in steakhouses for years. You guys ever heard of Del Frisco's and Sullivan Steakhouse? I was a corporate chef for them for years. Um, Number 85 of 99, Aiden Miller, Road to the Show for the Phils. I am more of a ribeye guy. I like some fat in my steak. Fat equals flavor. I worked for them for like 10 years. I don't think I've set foot in a steakhouse since I left there years ago. Like, don't get me wrong, it was wonderful and it was a great company to work for and everything, but just not my type of thing to eat every day like some people are. Yeah, well, the original Del Frisco's is from Dallas. The very first one was in Dallas. Del Frisco's Double Eagle Steakhouse. It was originally owned by a couple who I knew really well, and we originally Sullivan's was owned by Lone Star. If you guys remember Lone Star, we had like back in the '90s, it was kind of like Lone Star and Outback were the two kind of casual steakhouses, and there were some other ones around, but they were the two big ones. But then the guy who owned Lone Star at the time was this guy named Jamie Coulter, who actually was like the second largest Pizza Hut franchisee in the country. He like started Pizza Hut with another guy, and it's a whole nother story. But um, Morgan and Bovey. But when Lone Star like took off in the '90s, and they wanted a higher, like a high end division, and they ended up buying uh, Del Frisco's, which was just a single restaurant in Dallas at the time. And then they were going to make Sullivan's was supposed to be in between, but Sullivan's actually became much bigger, like much more like Ruth Chris and Morton's and those type of places. Carson Rocafort for Kansas City, numbered 4 of 50 gold. Now it's been some. I haven't worked there, and I left there like a long time ago. Actually, it's like 20 years ago since I worked there, but it's changed hands many a time since then. It's a much different experience from what I understand these days. But I still know some people who work there. See, back then, if you wanted to make money as a chef, steakhouse was the place to go. Like we actually made, whereas chefs don't make a lot of money, you actually could make a decent living in those places. Miro Tavera. I could not do it anymore, though. I'm not a young man like that anymore. I don't have the knees, the feet, the hips, anything to keep up with doing that like I used to. Used to be crazy. Albert Rios for the Angels. Yes, it is good, man. It's a young man's game. There's no doubt about it. I was a monster in my 20s and 30s, but when I got into my 40s and now into my 50s, I couldn't even imagine working on a line in a kitchen anymore. I would rather like hang myself. I know it's a horrible thing to say, but Dylan Cruz rode to the show and Jace Borafin for the Blue Jays. 63 of 75. It is physically very, very, very demanding. And believe me, I show the battle scars from it. Because, I mean, look, when I was a restaurant chef, I averaged about 110 hours a week for like 20 plus years. That you work those kind of hours on your feet all the time, you got some scars to show from it. Now I couldn't even imagine having to do it. I live in Philly. I mean, I'm from Philly. I grew up here too, but I lived all over the place. For Tampa, 28 of 50 gold. This one there for Steven. I like that one. I grew up in the Philly area, and then I lived away from here for maybe like 15 years. Never had any real intention of coming back to this area. It just kind of worked out that way. I lived in South Carolina. I lived in Florida. I lived in Chicago. I lived overseas in France and Singapore. And now I live like 4 miles from where I grew up. I don't know how it happened, but I ended up right back where I started pretty much. Felix Hernandez and Mejia. Winokur, DeLeo, Collier, Detmer, and Haas. And then, of course, like you have kids and stuff, and I mean, we had my son, and yeah, you're here, you don't want to move him, so you kind of stay, and that's how I kind of, I'm still in Philly. I liked Chicago a lot when I lived out there. I would have liked to have stayed out there. Peyton Pellet for the White Sox, 90 of 150. For Joseph. That makes me feel very good. I am a Philly guy at heart. I'm a 4-for-4 guy. So if you're a Cowboy hater, you go way up in my book. Believe me. So funny. My son was telling me. So my son goes to University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and he was just telling me the story the other day. He has I try to keep it PG on here, so he has an F Dallas shirt, has like the Cowboys helmet and then just F Dallas on it. And I mean, this is a very common shirt to see in the Philadelphia area. It's not offensive to people, Diane Jorge for the Rockies. So I guess he was out a couple of weeks ago and he was wearing it in Knoxville. And a woman came up to him and was like, "How dare you wear that in public?" And he's like, "Honestly, I didn't even realize like, what I was wearing until she pointed it out to me." Jackson Churio. He's like, "I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I guess people here don't really get that. Like in Philly, you know, it's fine to wear 173 of 175, but down there." And he was like, "I actually kind of felt embarrassed. I went home and changed my shirt." There you go for Matthew. So funny. Are you in the Dallas area? Is that the area where you live? Or are you south of there? Or? Gilbert Beck and Jackson Wiggins, X Factor. Oh yeah, you can find those all over the place up here. That's not a tough find. A shirt that says something like that. Many stores you can buy that around here. Carson Reed to 150 for the Pirates. Need some more top loaders. Running out of everything tonight. Do, 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 do. 45 minutes, an hour north of Dallas. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know Texas real well. Like I said, I was in Dallas a couple times when I worked for Del Frisco's, but just business wise, I didn't really see much there. And I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever been to Texas any other time. Sabin Ceballos for the Braves, 8 of 75. For Mark. Actually, I think it was in Houston once. But that was for work too. Like, yeah, I didn't really see anything. I was just there working for a day or two and then left. Badastados for the Cubbies, 14 of 25. Another orange wave. William, he's a Cubbies fan. He'll like that. Moises Balastados. I love his name. What a great name. Jason Worth, throwback, and 20 of 99. Kendall George for the Dodgers. And our last chromes: Melton, Johnson, Toman, Alvarez, and Garcia. That will do it. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. As always, I could not do this without y'all, and I do truly, truly appreciate it. If you're not in any of our other breaks tonight, please stay safe, stay healthy out there. We will be back tomorrow night with some more breaks. Plus, we always get the website. Always go to the website, pick up a spot or two. We would appreciate that. Otherwise, please stay safe, stay healthy out there. Bear with me for a sec. I'll put a hit recap together. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Cowboys. All right, Billy, take care, buddy. It was nice talking to you, bro. Let's try and get some semblance of order to this thing. Okay, this one. A lot of hits. A lot of stuff. All right. Hit recap for 2024 Topps Pro debut half jumbo case break number 12. Oh, wait, that one is a refractor. All right. Start out, we did have a Dylan Cruz and a Paul Skeens Chrome. X-Fractors of Bernal, Maya, and Wiggins, and then we had the Paul Skeens X-Fractor also. We did have to 99 Teamer Johnson Fabrics of the Future for Pittsburgh. It's a nice one there. Numbered parallels, paper numbered first. Max Anderson, Cole Young, Marion Boyd, and Jackson Holiday, all to 199. Tommy Troy, Cox, Clifford, and Carrig, all to 175. Parada, Reed, and Wallace to 150. Ballestados, George, and Aiden Miller to 99. Jace Borovin to 75, and Carson Rocafort to 50. Those were the paper parallels. Chrome parallels. To 99, Grayson Hitt, Wallace, Parada. To 150, Gonzalez, Thorpe, Palette. To 75, Rocafort and Ceballos. To 50, Hunter Haas. To 25, Figaro. And to 5, Robbie Snelling for the Missions. And then our autographs. Base autos of Rios, Jorge, Tidwell, Numala, Charles, Francesa, and Winokur. Mike Bovey and Carlos De La Cruz, both to 299. And then Ballestados and Noah Schultz, both to 25. All righty, that is going to do it. I want to thank everyone again for joining us tonight, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Take care. Bye. Do 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 do.